Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction for Manchester United versus RB Leipzig in the Champions League, and straight away I can see people like Kabazdan saying, will Donny van der Beek start tomorrow? I think we can absolutely guarantee one player is going to start the game tomorrow, and his name is going to be Scott McTominay, because he was in the press conference just now with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think if you're in the press conference, you are going to start a game, and I expect Scott McTominay to start, which, look, I'll talk about that in a minute because I think it feeds into a lot of things. I mean, look, what I would say about McTominay, if he performed on the pitch like he performs in a press conference, we'd have a very good player. He's always speaks very well, comes across really well, gets what Man United's all about. So very good interview from McTominay on the questions that he asked, but he was asked. However, let's talk about Donny van der Beek, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer dropped a couple of big hints here about Donny van der Beek. In fact, 3 big hints. The first one being that, is he going to start tomorrow? I actually don't think he is. I don't think he... I'm 50-50. I'm not sure he's not going to start, but I'm not confident he is going to start. But what I would say about the 3 things, I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is irritated by the Donny van der Beek conversation in general, whether it's the media, the fans, or being asked about it in press conferences. I think it's very obvious that he's irritated by it. Is he right to be irritated by it? Well, no. You're the manager of Manchester United, and I think that there's a few things that he said that I would disagree with, specifically around the selection of players. There was one bit where he said that Donny van der Beek, Paul Pogba and Nemanja Matic are all international experienced players and they're on the bench. And immediately I thought, yes, that is the problem. Like, this is why we're not beating Chelsea when we should have done, because we're leaving good players out of the team for a system. And he spoke about a system and he spoke about a balance. But he also said that with regards to Donny van der Beek, he was asked a very good question. Is it a surprise that Donny van der Beek is not playing? Should we be surprised that he's not playing? And I quite liked this question, because in a way it's a really good question, because it's like, it's not saying why are you not picking Donny van der Beek. It's like, should we be surprised that 6 games into the Premier League, Donny van der Beek isn't playing games? Like, would you have expected him to play games? So I thought it was a good question, to which Ollie answered it like this. He said, well, look, Donny's played well when he's played, which, to be honest with you, has been minimal, hasn't it? But it says a lot about our quality that he isn't playing at the moment, but he will be a very important player for us. And it's that sentence there. It says a lot about our quality that Donny van der Beek hasn't been playing games for Manchester United. Well, that would be a great line if we were sat at the top of the league and playing well. But we're not. We're not playing well. We played very well against PSG, and I think everybody can take a step back and say, yeah, I understand why Donny van der Beek didn't play against PSG, because we played very, very well. I don't understand why he didn't start against Chelsea, and I don't understand why he didn't start against Newcastle, and I don't understand why he didn't get let's not forget, this is not, the season didn't start from Newcastle. We played against Crystal Palace, Brighton and Spurs, and he didn't get any game time in those abysmal performances as well. So yeah, it's a fair enough question. It's a good question. And it's an answer from Ollie to say it says a lot about our quality that he's not getting in the team. But that would be a far more resonating statement if we had played well this season. And in vast majority of it, we haven't, and he's still not been given an opportunity. So to me, it doesn't say a lot about the quality. It still leaves the question mark, why has he not been given a chance? I understand people's concerns, but it's only the start of the season. Donny will get his opportunity, says Dan Kelly. Thanks for the super chat. To which, there was a question that Ollie answered about that, he was asked about Pogba and Van der Beek and the balance of getting them into the team, and Ollie said it's a long season, and that Matty, Donny and Paul have been on the bench. There's lots of games. Balance is important, and it's about who is in form. And I think that's a little bit of a hint, isn't it? Who is in form for the team at the moment? But long season, lots of games to come. Is that an excuse? Do you take that as an excuse? Because he uses that. He says that. There's lots of games to come. It's about balance. We've got a long season ahead, and I do agree with that to a certain point, because I think we have got lots of games this season. There's going to be a lot of games. We're going to play every few days up pretty much until the end of the season. But we played Chelsea at the weekend. What are we now? Are we running a marathon, or are we trying to win games? Because we have got a long season and there are lots of games, but managers can be sacked before Christmas. Managers can be sacked in October. So what's the point in keeping players? You know, and I was thinking about Ollie here. I'm not thinking about my thoughts. I'm not thinking about your thoughts. When he says there's a long season ahead, there's lots of games, there'll be lots of opportunities, I think we're being fobbed off there, because do you really believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sent a team out against Chelsea and thought, you know what, it's not my best team, I'm going to keep Pogba, Matic and Donny on the bench because I've got to play West Ham in January, bloody hell, you know. He's not thinking that. You don't think that. You think, I need to win this game, and this is the team I think that's going to win it, because you may never get to the West Ham game as Manchester United manager. If you are a manager of Manchester United, you put your team out that you think's the best. And that's what I think he did against Chelsea, and I think people need to open their eyes to that is the team he thinks is the best at the moment. And therefore, the questions asked about why Donny van der Beek's not playing, why Matic isn't playing, why Pogba's not playing, the answer is very simple. He doesn't think they're in form. He doesn't think they're good enough. He doesn't think they offer the balance, because there is no way that you can go into games and think about a bigger season when you could quite easily lose 3 or 4 games and get the sack. So, you know, he's picking the team that he wants to pick at the moment. And I think that's you've got to take that whether you like it or not. He was also asked about pressure for not picking players as well, and he said competition for places is important, but there isn't a pressure with that. It's a nice challenge to have. The pressure is on getting results, which feeds into what I just said there. Do you really think he sent a team out against Chelsea and rested big players? He needed a result there, and he said it's about play. You know, it's a nice challenge to have, having lots of people I can pick from and having a job. You know, basically what he said, it's a challenge that he embraces, having to pick players that, you know, leave players out, and he'd rather that than pick players that are not ready for the Prem. And boom, that's the point. That's the one, and that's the line. That's the line for me about Donny van der Beek. He said he'd rather have competition for places and a hard job than having to pick players who aren't ready for the Prem. Who's the only player we've got who you can actually say is not ready for the Prem? Well, it's Donny van der Beek and Telles, isn't it? Well, Telles maybe, but, you know, Telles started against PSG. Donny van der Beek is the only player we've got that he's brought in that is a first team ready player that he can say is not ready for the Prem. So I think if you're looking for your takeaway nuggets, the bottom line about Donny van der Beek, and look, unless he's been misquoted, I think you've just got it there. He's asked a question about the pressure of picking players. He said it's not pressure, it's a nice challenge to have, and I'd rather have that than have to pick players who are not ready for the Premier League. Well, the only player we've got in our squad who's first team ready, who is not Prem ready, in Ollie's opinion, is Donny van der Beek. He can't say that Pogba's not Prem ready, Bruno's not Prem ready, Matic isn't Prem ready. They've been playing in the Prem for years. So I think he actually let it out. I think he's let the cat out of the bag, that he's not picking Donny van der Beek because he doesn't think he's Prem ready. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I think you get your thing there, don't you? There was no news on Telles Vaishnav. He was asked about any injury problems for the game, and he said that we're more or less the same squad. I don't know why people didn't delve into Telles. I don't know why we didn't ask for clarity on players that are going to be out, but we didn't get that. So I think we much of a much will be that team. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching, by the way. I mean, look, there's people in the live comments saying, well, Donny clearly is ready. I mean, all I go back to is that last 20 minutes against Newcastle where he was superb and he should have been given a game time. Our best performance against PSG came in the period when we played the exact system you have on screen, says Niani. And there's plenty of games to be played, says Jonathan Gallagher. Jonathan, I respect what you're saying there, but I still don't think it counters what I've just said. We're Manchester United. Why is it an excuse to say it's a big long season, plenty of games to come? That doesn't answer the question, does it? It's like us doing a spelling test, right? And, you know, question 3 is I've had it marked wrong, and they say, and I say, why am I wrong? I think I've spelt that right. Question 4. No, let's go back to question 3. Why am I wrong? Well, we're going to question 4 now, and I think that when United fans are saying, why is this player playing? Why is that player not playing? Why is that not playing? Why is that not playing? When somebody says, well, or Ollie says, it's a big season, there's lots of games to come. That's like moving on to question 4 when instead of addressing why I'm querying question 3. I'm not personally interested in listening to excuses that revolve around a big season and lots of games to come. That doesn't answer the question why players are being picked above other players. Why is Dan James starting games? He's been awful. Why is Juan Mata starting games ahead of people like Pogba and Van der Beek? Why is Scott McTominay starting ahead of Nemanja Matic? And McTominay didn't play well against Chelsea, but will start again tomorrow. It doesn't make sense to me. You can't just say there's a big season to come. And the reason I dwell on that point is this. Why is having lots of games to play, how does that answer the question about why we're not picking our best team against Chelsea? Because there's lots of games to come. What? Like, why are we not picking our best team against Chelsea? Because you don't trust them, because you don't rate them, because they're not playing well in training. That's the answer. Lots of games to come means nothing because you pick your best team. So I don't think lots of games to come answers the question. I think lots of games to come means that there'll be opportunities for those players to get in the team. But it's not the reason they're not being picked now. I don't know why, don't see what Ricky was saying. He was bang right. You don't keep picking 5 people that won't track back. Ollie's doing the right thing, says Robert McCormack. And Dan James ain't ready for the Prem. Ollie is a muppet who is showing he can't manage a big squad. He picks his favourites. Look how Scott played versus Chelsea, says Buster Nut. Hi Mark, please refresh. I missed the first part, says Mikael Roach. Well, I sometimes do refresh at the end, but I've got lots of things to talk about before that. I mean, on Scott McTominay, look, MUTV before the game, before the press conference, they were chatting away in the studio. And the presenter was saying that Scott and Fred have done nothing wrong, so how can you drop them? And I'm like, well, I don't think McTominay played well against Chelsea. I think I gave him 5 out of 10. I think you lot gave him lower than me. I don't think he played well against Chelsea. I think there's Scott McTominay. I think there's a bit of a myth around Scott McTominay. I like the lad. I think like Jamie Carragher said last night, he's not a top 4 midfielder. You're not going to get top 4 with him in your midfield. So Scott McTominay, there's this. McTominay and Fred are playing really well at the moment. No, they're not. I thought they played well against PSG. I don't think they played particularly well against Newcastle. And I don't think they were very good against Chelsea. The ball retention from back to front was terrible. And there's 2 midfielders there to move the ball from back to front. I thought Fred was better than McTominay, but I don't think McTominay played well. But there he is in the press conference. There he'll be in the team tomorrow. Where's the accountability? They're talking about... Look, I like McTominay, by the way. This is not a witch hunt. This is going back to the Pogba and Van der Beek and Matic thing again. So we're continuing. I mean, I think if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and I was listening to this, or I was listening to what people are saying on social media, look at why they're saying it. They're not just moaning for a player to start. They're moaning about performances not being rewarded. And if I watched United against Chelsea, which many of us did, McTominay shouldn't start against Leipzig, but it very much looks like he is. So you're rewarding a player that plays badly and you're not giving people a chance. And let's not forget what has been said before. McTominay, Dan James, Mata, Fred all had an opportunity after lockdown and failed. They were poor. This is why we ran out of steam for the Europa League. This is why when we made subs, I remember being 3-0 up against Brighton. We brought 4 or 5 players on and Brighton looked like they were winning 3-0 for the last 20 minutes. They dominated us. So I think the point is here, it's not about games to come. It's not about lots of games. It's not about, having the wool pulled over our eyes. The general consensus is, why is Matic not playing? Why is Van der Beek not playing? And to a certain extent, why is Pogba not playing? When you keep picking players that aren't playing well. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I think McTominay and Fred work and played well against Chelsea. I don't think they did. I thought Fred played quite well. I thought McTominay was dreadful. I thought it was a terrible performance. His passing was awful. As he lost a contact lens against PSG. Well, he must have lost the other one because passing was awful. And I don't want to dwell on that player individually, but this is what happens when you get fuzzy answers back around team selections and there's lots of games to come. People are not performing in the shirt, but then they are being picked, and then other people who are new signings or have performed in the shirt, were first teamers before the Spurs game, they're not now being given a chance. So I don't agree with that. I don't think McTominay and Fred have been superb, and I don't think McTominay and Fred should play against Leipzig. I think Matic should come back in, but that's just my opinion. And Ollie himself basically said that Fred and McTominay have done a fantastic job, and I disagree. I don't think they've done a fantastic job. I think that Mark Noble and Declan Rice would do a fantastic job as a midfield two, sat in front of a back four for Manchester United. We're Manchester United. I'd like to see some quality in there, and we've definitely got the quality on the bench. I don't mind McTominay as part of the squad. And Fred, to me, is a divider. I mean, can Fred be a first-teamer in a United team that's going to be successful? Come see, come sa. I'm not so sure. But McTominay, to me, is a bench player. And the sooner we start removing Dan James, Juan Mata and Scott McTominay to the bench and bringing in Van der Beek and Matic and maybe Pogba, or certainly a front two, maybe a Cavani or a Martial, obviously, they're better. The sooner we get our better side out and start building a vision, because at the moment, I don't know about you, I don't know what we are as a football club. I think at the end of last season, I saw a team that somehow got top four. I expected a good transfer window to build on that team of last season. That team of last season's been disintegrated. Where's Matic? Where's Pogba? Our new signing, where's him? We seem to have created... And look, this is a really important point. It's only just come into my head. You know, this is the great thing about live content. I don't know what we are. The team that got us top four has been disintegrated. And he's now delivering a team with Dan James in it, and Mata in it, and McTominay in it, and Fred in it. And I'm like... What's the vision for this season? Because it can't be that. That team will not finish in the top four. So when are you going to start playing your best team? And I think that is a valid point. And as people know, I'm firmly behind the manager. I'm only going to Solskjaer in. I want him to do well, and I think he can do well. But I'm confused at the moment. I'm confused.com because I don't know what we are trying to achieve. And if I see a team tomorrow that's not got Van der Beek and Pogba in it again and no Matic, and I see McTominay and Fred running out as our midfield for the fourth game in a row, I'm like, this is now a massive concern because that midfield two will not get us in the top four. So when are you going to change it when you've done it 4 games in a row? Welcome to the Members Club, Michael Rusnek. Appreciate that. And McTominay defends. Well, so does Matic. And Mark, I think Donny should get a transfer request. Well, look, that's from LCHD. Donny van der Beek's not going to go anywhere, and he will get his chance. He will get his chance, and he will take his chance. The question is, why has he not been given his chance yet? But he will get his chance, and he will take it. And Matic will get a chance, and he will take it. What will happen as a positive is Pogba, Van der Beek, Matic, whether you want any of them in the team, they will get their chance, and he won't be able to go back to Mata, and he won't be able to go back to McTominay, and he won't be able to go back to whoever comes in if Pogba comes in. These players will get their chance because they are better than players that are starting for us at the moment. But we might have to have bad results for those to get the chance. And that's the frustrating thing, because I think if they were just given their chance now, like they should be, we might not have to suffer the bad results to move those players that will cause the bad results out of the team. But Ollie's the manager, and, you know, he's got to do what he thinks is best. And at the moment, I think he's very, in his defence, I think he is very focused on balance and trust. And I think he's sending players out there that he trusts. The Duracell bunnies who will just keep running and running around. The system. I imagine at Carrington, it's very much about a system and not individualism. It's very much, you must be here. Scott and Fred, you must be stood right in front of Maguire and Lindelof because they've got no pace and they don't work as a pairing. So we've got to protect them. You must stay right in front of them. Don't go wandering off looking at little runs. Stay right in front of them. I don't care if you give the ball away, stay right in front of them. When they've got the ball, Dan James, Mata, get back down the right-hand side. And I think at the moment, that is obviously, the approach is to be systematic. Systematic. I remember that song. We are being systematic. We are not being expansive. I was talking to Robbie from AFTV this morning, and he was very he's going to be on the show later in the week, and he was very complimentary about PSG, which we all were. We were fantastic. And he said in a sentence, and I'll give him a shout out on this, he said that I thought you were fantastic against PSG. I think some of your fans are overreacting because it's a process. But what he did say is, I think Manchester United struggle against teams that don't have a go at you, because PSG had a go at you and you exploited them having a go at you and found space. Last season you did it a lot, but this season Chelsea roll up, Lampard says, I'm not going to have a go at you, I'm going to keep it tight. You don't know what to do. And you struggle against teams that don't have a go at you, which I think is fair. And I said it back to Robbie, I said, this is the problem. Most people want Ollie to do well, but there is this question mark about his ambitions against sides that tell us to attack. We like to attack on the break. We don't like to attack per se, and that's not Manchester United, is it? Welcome to the Members Club, Victor Pal. Appreciate that. And we actually haven't lost the game since we started Fred and McTominay. Why this sudden agenda against them, says Carl Freddy. Well, it's not an agenda, is it? It's not an agenda, because an agenda is based on unfounded opinion. It's not unfounded to say that Scott McTominay couldn't pass a parcel on Saturday against Chelsea. It's not unfounded to say that Matic, we still would have got a clean sheet with Matic. We're keeping clean sheets because of a system. We're not keeping clean sheets because of players. I tell you now, Fred and McTominay are just sitting in front of the back four. I could get, as I said a few minutes ago, Declan Rice and Mark Noble could do the same job. In fact, they might do it better because they've got a better passing range. We are talking about a system, and this is the problem. Since when was Manchester United a system team? Manchester United has always been about flair, expression, risk-taking, individuals within a system. Where are the individuals in that team? We're becoming a very systematic team, and this is what Ricky talks about. And I don't think people understand where Ricky's coming from about playing Dan James, because we see Dan James as an individual playing badly, but Ricky sees a player that in the system keeps a shape. And this is what you're fighting against. It's system against better players. And what do you go for? And what I'm saying is, it's like that. You need system and your better players. A good coach picks his better players and finds a system. And at the moment, we're not picking our better players, and we're picking the Duracell bunnies who will play in a system and do well. So you're right in a sense that you're saying, look, we haven't lost with McTominay and Fred, but I think any player that's a midfielder could have got the same results, because actually, what have McTominay and Fred done other than be busy, run around and keep the shape of the two holding midfield pivots? Have they expressed themselves? Have they played great passes from back to front? Not really. So to me, you could take out McTominay and Fred and put Van der Beek and Pogba. Or you could put Van der Beek and Matic. Probably not Van der Beek and Pogba. They're not both midfielders. Centre defensive midfielders. But I don't think that it's to do with the individuals. It's to do with the system. And that is a great point, because you highlight how we at the moment, we're not... Ollie is picking a team on a system. He's not picking players on ability. If we beat Leipzig, our next two games will be against the Turkish side, which will most likely end in wins, meaning we would have 4 from 4 in the Champions League, says Johnny Wilson. And he was asked about this. Beating Leipzig is a chance to win and progress ASAP. And Ollie said, we've got a game every few days. It's relentless, and it's a chance to rest. If we get a chance to rest players, we will do. And it's a big reason not to take chances on players who maybe aren't fit. The squad is important. The proof will be in the pudding with that, whether he rotates players tomorrow. But you're right. If we beat Leipzig tomorrow, we play the Turkish side twice. If we beat them twice, we'd have 12 points if we beat Leipzig, and we will definitely be in the next round. So the way the fixtures have fallen for us, you've got to take advantage of that PSG win away. What a great 3 points it was. What a great performance it was. Now go and beat Leipzig. Flex. Check YouTube, mate. Check YouTube. You work for the channel. You've got Leipzig at home. You've beaten PSG. You beat Leipzig. Then you've got the two Turkish sides, like the Turkish side twice. It's 12 points. You're done. Doesn't matter really what happens against PSG and Leipzig, because they'll eat each other. So yeah, it's a big opportunity if we win tomorrow. What midfielders in our squad have the mobility and defensive discipline of Fred and McTominay? Mark, says White Owl. What's your point? I don't know what your point is there, because you know what I'm going to reply to. Name me midfielders that we've got that have got a better passing range than Fred and McTominay. Oh, all of them. So you're basically answering my question. You're trying to say we're right to pick McTominay and Fred because they're mobile, and I think against PSG it works really well, but we're giving up creativity by playing those two players. Fred's passing range is not very good, and McTominay's is awful. So yes, they're mobile, but as I said, I can name you 20 midfielders across the Premier League from top to bottom who could come in and do a mobile job, because that's all they're offering, mobility. They're not offering what you need. One of those players in that role has got to be the player who takes the ball off the back four and can pass between 5 and 40 yards accurately to rotate the game from defence to attack quickly. We're not doing that, which is why against Chelsea we were quite dull to watch for a lot of the game. The best chance of the game came from a Chelsea mistake, which was Rashford in the first half. We didn't create that. It was a mistake. It was a mistake that Bruno pounced upon. We should be creating chances from two midfielders. It's overkill. We shouldn't be playing two centre defensive midfielders who are mobile and can't pass the ball. This is what's 2 out of 11? It's not far off being 20%. 20% of our team in a core position can't actually rotate the ball from back to front. They're massively important and they're too similar. They do a job. They did a job against PSG. I'm not saying they don't do a job. But sat on our bench is Matic, Pogba and Donny van der Beek. That is not right. And I don't think Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp would sit 3 of his best midfielders on the bench to play 2 passion merchants. And I know that's harsh, but they wouldn't. They'd find a way to play their best players. And that's all I'm saying. I don't dislike McTominay and I don't dislike Fred. I actually like them both. But as a pair, I think it nullifies what we are as a football club. We are playing a system. We are putting people in there to protect our back four because we didn't buy a centre-back and they aren't, they're not quick enough. But we're putting 2 players there who just are not better than most Premier League midfielders. They're just doing a mobile job of breaking the play up and shielding the back four. But they're not moving the ball. And we've basically got 2 players doing one role. And that's what I'm trying to say. And realistically, I'd rather we were a little bit braver and played one of them with a player who actually can move the ball. And I think Matic could do that role. Spot on there. Fred and McTominay will run all day, but it is their quality on the ball. They give the ball away so much and don't bring anything going forward, says Sanjit. And thanks for the contribution, Frances Okoku. What else did Ollie speak about? He spoke about RB Leipzig. He praised their high pressure, their tempo, and they want to dominate games. If you didn't watch the preview this morning, do give it a watch. Really interesting about this game. I actually think Leipzig is going to be a harder game than Arsenal, so I'm very excited about it tomorrow. And what else? A Leipzig chance to win and progress. We've done that. Pogba, we've spoke about. Pressure, not picking players, we spoke about. McTominay also spoke about pre-season being minimal. Games were our fitness, and now we're seeing that true fitness. I mean, look, this only verifies what I and many of you were saying, that the start to the season for us, those first 3 games, were very, very difficult because we didn't have a pre-season. And now, after the international break, we're starting to see a more energetic Manchester United, aren't we? So I think that's very true from McTominay, who spoke very, very well. He was asked about Dayu Upamecano as well. Obviously, a player that United were linked to in the summer. But Ollie just said, well, it's speculation. Nothing that I'm going to speak about, which is great. Flex rang me when I was live. He's in London, don't worry. And Upamecano is coming home, says Primrose. Duracell FC says Stretch 93, which is what I need to do. And Peter says, I feel that Mike Phelan's coaching is outdated. So essentially what you've got in this press conference is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole promised the Man United way of playing, yet we have 2 CDMs playing, no squares going in the box and counter-attacking style. Twilight Zone, says Craig Montague. And I think Craig makes a very good point there. That thanks for the sticker, Renate, as well. I think that, and thanks everyone who's become a member. You can do that by clicking the join button. We've got some exciting things coming up with the membership tomorrow. So if you want to become a member, you can do that by clicking the join button. Get a little badge next to your name. Support the channel. Fantastic. But in summary of what that press conference is, because I want to make this very, very clear. I like Scott McTominay. I really like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I back Manchester United. But like anybody who's been my boss or colleague in the past, I don't just blindly follow decisions. It doesn't mean I'm Ollie out because I don't agree with his team selections. It just means that, I'm a football fan, and football fans are opinionated. Ollie spoke about Donny van der Beek, and basically I think what he did say is that I'd rather have a big squad to pick from than pick players who aren't ready for the Prem. Well, that can only be Donny van der Beek, so he's basically saying he's not ready. He also said that he's played well when he's played, but it says a lot about the quality that we've already got, that he isn't playing, but he will be very important. So basically saying that Mata and James and whoever else you want to say in the midfield are better than Donny van der Beek at the moment. So that's where we are. Will he start tomorrow? I'm 50-50. I think he will, but then I don't. So I'm 50-50. That's what it is. And I don't normally like to sit on the fence, but I don't think Van der Beek... I think when Scott McTominay came out in the press conference, I was like, well, he's going to pick McTominay and Fred. So if he's picking McTominay and Fred, where does Van der Beek start? So I don't think that we're going to see Donny Van der Beek unless he plays the diamond, which is what I had in the preview this morning. So we'll see what happens with that. But look, as I said, I can see clearly... Now the rain is gone. No, I can see clearly what Ollie is doing. He's picking a system. He's gone for a system over picking his better players. What I'm saying is you can do both. So when he picks Dan James, Mata, Scott McTominay and Fred, and he leaves Matic and Greenwood and Pogba and Donny van der Beek on the bench, I don't care what anybody says, those players on the bench are way better than those players that you're picking. So why is he picking them? Because he's picking a system. He's picking Juris LFC. He's picking Passion Merchants. Whatever you want to call them, he's basically picking players that when he tells them to do a job, they will do it because they're not going to express themselves. He knows McTominay and Fred, if he tells them to stay in front of that back four and just run about and cover, they'll do it. He knows that Mata and James, if he tells them to just cover the fullbacks and cover a space, they'll do it. But is that really what Manchester United's all about? Is that what risk-taking's all about? Is that what flair football's about? Is that what entertaining and attractive football's all about? Picking players to rigidly do a job who actually can't skin a player, can't pass more than 10 yards, can't rotate the ball from back to front. I think there's a happy medium. I think we need a system that gets the best out of our better players. And you're telling me that Donny van der Beek can't play where Mata or Dan James does, and you're telling me that Pogba can't play where Fred plays, or Matic can't play where McTominay plays, all of which are better players. So to me, I think we're halfway there. You know, we're Bon Jovi. We're halfway there. But we are also living on a prayer a little bit. We're sending players out that aren't good enough and praying that it's going to be enough. I think what we need to do is play the system, but get the better players into that system. And if those better players are not playing in your system to the way you want, then you've got to look at yourself as a coach, because you know what it is. What it effectively could be, it's like being, it's like being a football coach, right? Of a school side, right? And you've got, I don't know how the years work now, but imagine you're a PE teacher at a school, a secondary school, right? And you've got a team of 15-year-olds and you've got a team of 11-year-olds, and your headmaster says, which team do you want to coach? And look, this PE teacher could be male or female, transgender, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you're asked which age group you want to coach, right? And the head teacher says, the 15-year-olds, they're lively, but they're very good. The 11-year-olds, they're not as good, but they're easy to control. It's a little bit at the moment, and you could say this, I think, to explain what's happening with United at the moment, Ollie's got a system and he's going with the 11-year-olds who are easy to control because they're going to do as they're told. Whereas the 15-year-olds are the team that's going to win you the trophies, but you're not able to control them. That could be perceived by the Ollie Outers as a coach that's not strong enough. To show that he's a great coach and a Manchester United coach, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will not achieve anything with the team that he sent out against Chelsea. He has to do it with the players that are on the bench. And if he can't control them and get them to do it, then he's not a United coach. But we can't keep hiding behind the easy to control players who will just do a job but are limited in ability. He's got to get that system with the better players. And I think that's what people are saying. And the great thing is, he's got to do it. He has to do it. You can't keep ignoring it. He will have to. Gary Neville said it last night. Pogba will have to start games soon. There's only so many you can drop him. Donny's going to have to start a game soon. Matic is going to have to start a game soon. Greenwood, he's going to have to start using his better players. Telles is going to have to start over Luke Shaw. You can't keep picking Luke Shaw when you've got Telles, who's way better going forward. So, look, time will be the healer of this. We will get there. Our best midfield is Fred, Pogba and Bruno versus Sevilla. We were so good. I know. Mohak, I agree. I thought we were absolutely fantastic against Sevilla. I liked that midfield three. I don't know why we've never done it again. McFred equals Anderson and Fletcher, but even worse passing range. Maybe a bit better defensively. James equals a bad Park Ji-sung, says Josh Trousers. And hi Mark, I think when Ollie handed in his transfer list, he had a certain formation in mind. The players he got forces him to recollaborate a new system and then bed in his players. I think you've got something on that at JDeep as well. Pranay says players like Matic and Greenwood won't be playing internationals, so we must play them in these games. We keep playing the same players in the Champions League and the Premier League games and then talk about tiredness and squad depth. I would have liked to have dwelt on that a little bit more, Pranay, actually, because Ollie did speak about not taking chances on players that are a little bit tired and it's relentless. But as I said, it looks like we're going to pick McTominay and Fred for the fourth game in 10 days. So maybe Ollie has tried all these formations in training and it doesn't work. And let's say we put Matic instead of Scott. That still means Pogba and Van der Beek will be on the bench. Knuckle, there's no such thing as trying systems in training and them not working. There's only failure. These are professional footballers. Then you don't play 4-4-2 and say that doesn't work. You look at yourself and say, I as a coach can't make it work. These are professional footballers. Any system will work if you're a good enough coach. You can't say, well, I've tried the diamond, it didn't work. That reflects on you as a coach. These players can be manipulated into whatever system you want if you're a good enough coach. And that's what we need to see. And I think what he did against PSG was unbelievably fantastic coaching of two systems. I just want to see more of it, and I want to see more of our better players on the pitch. And I'm pretty sure that's what Ollie wants to see as well. Make sure you smash a like on the video, everybody. Actually, I'm going straight over onto... Have I put the link in the video description? Hopefully I have. I'm going straight over to my FIFA Manchester United career mode now. We've got the second leg of the Champions League semi-final against Atletico Madrid. I'm going to be live there in a couple of minutes. Come over and join me if you're not doing anything. It's always entertaining to watch and I could do with the support. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes on there. Thanks everyone for watching. Links in the video description for that. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you over on my FIFA stream in a couple of minutes. Link in the video description. Where's my controller? What's it gone off for? You're having a bloody laugh. Oh, I'm getting fed up with this. I'm really getting fed up with this. I can't bloody end streams at the end anymore. Just bloody freezes. Still bloody live.